Hey Cubs, welcome back to the channel. So today I thought I'd draw some villains from my childhood. It might sound like an odd thing to do, but after mentioning fan art in previous videos, I just got it into my head that I really wanted to draw Hexxus. No idea why, because it's been years since I've seen that film. Could be because I've been watching a lot of old Robin Williams interviews and he voiced Batty in Fern Gully. So it might be that, I don't know. But then I just thought, why not turn it into a whole video and do a couple of others from some of my favourite childhood films. So that's what we're doing. Good point. And with that, let's get going.
I do believe we are destined to be soulmates.
So drawing Hexxus was a little bit of a challenge. Throughout Fern Gully he has about 5 different forms, I think. And I started with the tree for my warm-up, but I made such a hash of that I never even bothered to go around it in pencil. Then he's got his slug form. I think there are 2 different versions. It might be the same, but just depending on his movement, and that's why they look different. Like I say, it's been so long since I've seen it, I really can't remember. But I did those guys as well, even though I kind of knew in the back of my mind which version I wanted to do. I just felt like just drawing all his versions might help me a bit. Yeah, his later 2 forms, the smoky form and the sort of skeletal form, they were obviously both have more human elements, and as I've said a couple of times before, my humans suck. But even just doing something like Hexxus where it's only slightly human, it serves to help me improve, which is really what I want to do when it comes to humans. Even if I don't get to a fantastic stage, I don't mind. Just practicing really helps with all aspects of drawing, as we know. And of course, throughout this entire process I did get toxic love stuck in my head, unsurprisingly.
Toxic love.
But it's just one of those villain songs that, you can't help getting it stuck in your head, and it's no bad thing. But yeah, back to the artwork. I think I lined all of them with the flexi nib, certainly what it looks like here. It's a really nice pen to use, really love it. Glad I was able to get Jazz's kit so that I could use it. I also really enjoy using the brush nibs. I got obviously the Pro Artist pack as well, and which was the first time I'd used a brush tip before, and yeah, there's just something about them that's really nice to use. And then it was onto the mixed media pad, and with that I knew this was going to be a long process, because as I say, I chose his smoky form to do, and I knew I wanted to use the liquid graphite pencils or water soluble graphite, because I thought that would really help the look. And for some reason I decided to go full page, which meant it was going to take a lot of work. So I'm just going to shut up for a bit and let you guys enjoy the process. brush was really nice to do, just seeing it all come together, making it look a bit more smoky. And I did use the warm grey pens to help with like his eyes and his mouth, and there's a couple of other places, not quite highlights but that kind of thing. And yeah, I did a very loose background to go behind him. It's not entirely accurate to the scene I was using as reference. Speaking of reference, I did try to use shapes more than directly copying the reference like I would do normally, but it's a difficult habit to break after, you know, like 10 years of doing it that way. So, you know, it's gonna take me time, but you know, I'm getting there. And yeah, I definitely needed to pick out all these details using the brush pen, just because they kind of got lost, which I know in a smoky form of a character, you know, those kinds of things are going to get lost. Oh, that's right, now I remember. That wasn't why I did it, it's because he has got white highlights, but the white pen just wouldn't sit on top of the graphite pencils, so I just went over the top of the pen, the black pen, so it stood out better. First of all, I should apologise for the abrupt camera angle change on this one. My tripod setup died partway through recording, which is always fun. Yeah, so this was using the initial setup I normally use, but next to me rather than trying for a top down, in the hopes that it would be better balanced, and that the like I use one of these grippy tripod things on top of a static. I'll flick an image up so you can see what I'm going on about. However, it's got to the point where I've moved it around so much that it just will not stay still. It seems to be okay to use the grippy one whilst I'm doing intros and outros, which is great. But yeah, I will switch again to using my gooseneck for the final piece, because it still wasn't having it even on this angle. But on to the next character. I decided I would do Sharptooth from The Land Before Time. Now with this one I did get a little bit cocky and just thought I did so many T-Rexes whilst I was designing Ez that, you know, I didn't need to do much practice for him. Well, actually I didn't do any practice, I just went straight into it, and he looks atrocious. He looks more like a toad, and that's my own fault. To colour him though, I did use my Winsor Newton markers. Actually no, I used the Winsor Newton and then I swapped to Olip. Now the Olips are basically knockoff Oohoo-Hoos, and I got them because at the time money was really tight and I needed to replace so many markers. I just thought, you know what, I'm just gonna have to buy a cheap bundle, and they're okay. They bleed more than any of my other markers, usually bleeding through the page, and some of them have actually not quite dried out, but they've gone really weird where there's like all bits coming off the nibs. Not sure why, but I know not to get them again, which is a shame because there are some really nice colours in this set. So yeah, just did a little bit of shading on him, nothing too fancy, and I didn't bother with the background because I just really didn't like how he came out at all. So switching to the top-down view on the gooseneck, and this actually worked really well. And for the final villain, I decided to draw Cat Waul, probably from a lesser known film, and this was an American Tale, Fievel Goes West. Initially I was going to draw the bad guy from An American Tale, the first one, but partly because I couldn't remember him at all, but Qatar Waul, as soon as I saw his image, I remembered him. I remembered who voiced him, which was John Cleese. So I just thought, okay, I'm doing him instead. Plus, I forgot what his name is. Warranty Rat from the first film looks very close to a villain I want to do in the next episode, which I'll go into at a later date when I do that. But this time I did just copy the reference. By this point I was so fed up, so annoyed that Sharptooth had come out so badly. I just thought I needed something to be my redeeming piece. Not that there was anything wrong with Hexxus, Hexxus, I was quite pleased with him. But yeah, I needed something better, something I felt comfortable doing, though choosing coloured pencils is not particularly my comfort zone. It's actually why I switched to markers, because I tended to lose patience with coloured pencils. But yeah, as I said, these pencils are from Jazz's Pro Artist set. They're really nice pencils, I quite like them. Soft to use. I haven't done a great deal of blending with them, but that's because I'm still learning how to do that. So I've been watching a lot of Sarah Renee Clark to help me with that. It's still, again, putting things into practice and changing bad habits that you've picked up over the years. So all these things are just going to take time, but I shall just let you guys enjoy the end of this.